Welcome to the Etsy Entrepreneur Podcast, where sellers can get help starting, building, and growing their Etsy business so that they can make extra money pursuing their passion. Are you ready to get the tips and strategies you need to be successful? Then let's get started. Here is your host, a top 1% full-time Etsy seller, LL.
Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to the Etsy Entrepreneur Podcast, where I help other sellers start, build, and grow their Etsy businesses. Hopefully you guys are doing awesome. Glad to be back with you today. So I got a really good episode. This is an episode that people have been requesting in the Etsy Entrepreneur community. So you ask and I deliver as much as possible. So this episode, I want to talk about managing your Etsy business and also having a work-life balance, right? Because starting a business, any business for that matter, can be stressful. It can be super time-consuming. And a lot of times we get stuck in the weeds. We get stuck in the rigmarole and we forget to have fun. We forget to live life. You know, that's the only thing that we can't get back in this world is time. And it's important not to spend 80, 90 hours a week in your business, and make sure you guys are taking breaks and rewarding yourself and doing things that maybe will make your life a little bit easier. So before I dive in too specific, I'm going to kind of take a step back and I want to talk about, your goals and your mindset when it comes to your Etsy business. So I think this is a good starting point because this is what's going to establish what you do next and how you break out and arrange your work-life balance and arrange the things that you do in your Etsy business. Where do you want to be and how do you want to get there, basically, is what I want to ask you. What do you want out of your Etsy business? Do you want to be able to pay a couple bills? Maybe do you want to pay for that vacation? Or do you want something bigger? Do you want to walk away from your 9 to 5, walk away from your corporate job, walk away from the man and be in control of your time, be in control of your freedom and your own, be able to make your own money. So that is a much bigger goal, and maybe you'll start small, which I did. I wanted to make a little bit of extra money each month. And then as my business started to grow, then I was like, you know what, maybe I can do this full time. Maybe I can really grow this thing and be able to walk away from my corporate job. And I had a pretty good job, but it was very stressful and I wasn't in control of my time. I was spending a lot of time at the office, a lot of time driving, and I really got tired of it and I wanted to be my own boss. And that's probably a lot of you guys' goals. But it's really how you the drive and what you want to do in order to get there. But I think it's important to take a step back and see what you really want out of this Etsy business. And that is, depending on what you really want, is going to impact the things that you do and the time that you spend. And really what you have to do also is focus on the things that you can control. A lot of people say, well, I want to do Etsy full time, or, I want to make $1,000 or $5,000 a month on Etsy. But you focus on maybe, thinking about things that you want to do, or looking at competition, or wishing that you would make more sales. But what have you done in order to get there, to take those steps to make that revenue? So that's what I want to encourage you to think about. We don't want to play in the sand. We want to actually build a sandcastle. So make sure you align yourself and think about the things that you can actually do, that you can control to get you to your goal. Looking at other listings, looking at analytics, spending all day looking at keywords. Those things probably aren't going to get you to your goal. It's the actions, the implementation of strategies, the actions that you take, adding new listings, posting on social media, being consistent with that stuff. That will get you closer to your goal than playing in the sand, so to speak. So just think about your mindset and where you want to be, and that's going to really dictate the next steps that you take. So the next thing I want to talk about is finding time where others won't. In my journey, when I started my Etsy business, I worked in corporate America. I was a director of a pretty large company. I had around 150 employees, which was stressful and it was a lot. I worked a lot of hours, and I had to drive. My drive time was an hour or more, depending on traffic, one way. So I was spending at least 2 hours a day driving. I would spend 10 hours at the office. I would get home, I would leave for work at around 7:30. I would get home around 7 o'clock, depending on traffic, sometimes a little bit earlier than that, sometimes later than that, sometimes 7:30. um, that was a pretty hefty schedule to figure out how I was going to work in my Etsy business. So what I had to do was either get up early and work on it on my lunch break, or work on it after work. That was my only options, as well as working on it on the weekends. So that's exactly what I did. I set up those times where I wanted to work on my business. And I can tell you what, the majority of my business growth while I was working, and I did Etsy for 4 or 5 years while I was working. So I did this for 4 or 5 years. Um, I did a lot of my actual online stuff during my lunch break. So I would take an hour lunch every day. And while a lot of people would, go to the mall or go out to eat or whatever people do on their lunch break, I would bring my laptop and I would go to the break room, or I would go to a coffee shop, and I would do work for that entire hour. I would pack my own lunch and I would work that entire hour and pump out as much stuff that I could possibly do online in that hour. And I made, think about it, that's 5 hours a week. That's a pretty good chunk of time, if you think about it, that you can spend growing your business with 5 hours a week. And then after work, I would come home. Usually I would work out. So I would work out for an hour. And then I would do, my printing. I print my own clothing, my own graphic tees. I do all the packaging. I do all that stuff myself, and I still do. I probably need to think about outsourcing some of that stuff now, because it is pretty overwhelming. But I would, I would work out, then I would do my printing, get my orders ready, and then a lot of times I wouldn't eat dinner until like 9:30 at night, or later. So depending on that schedule, and then I would go to bed and I would start the whole thing over again. And the weekends too were a good time for me to make up a little bit of lost ground. I did spend a couple hours on the weekends growing my business as well. But it's all about carving out those times where other people won't do that. They won't set aside that time to do it. There's everyone has 24 hours in a day. And the way that I looked at it was, you see all these successful people, regardless of what you think of them, they are successful. Elon Musk, Oprah Winfrey, Bill Gates. These are uber successful people, but they have 24 hours in a day, just like you, just like me. So what's the difference? They carved out those times to grow their business, and they were, uh, you know, consistent with it, and they made it work for their schedule. They all have families, they all have other responsibilities, children, whatnot, but you have to carve out those times, and find the time. So um, that's what I would encourage you to do. But yeah, like I said, according with what I used to do, my lunch was the big hit thing, and then after work, that's how I, move my business forward. Mind you, I didn't do, after work all the time. I understand you guys have families. I have a family too. You have other responsibilities. You probably can't do it every day, but think about the days that you can do it and make it work for you and carve that out, and, create a habit, with the times that you want to work on your business. Because a lot of people will get to the end of the week and they didn't work on their business at all, and then they're frustrated about sales, but literally you haven't done anything that entire week to get you sales. You can't just put up listings, you can't just open a shop and then expect it to pour in sales and be consistent with sales. You have to continue to work, on your Etsy business, continue to feed it, continue to work on strategies and stuff like that in order to reap the benefits of it. So you get out of it what you put into it. um, Now, the next thing that I would encourage you to do is set weekly goals that are action based. So, the problem that a lot of people do, that a lot of people have with goals and creating goals, is they have a goal that is something that they don't directly control. So, you want to do Etsy full time, right? Or you want to do $5,000 a month on Etsy. Well, that's great, but you don't control that. You can't push a button and automatically get $5,000, right? You can't automatically push a button and do Etsy full time, be able to leave your job. It doesn't work like that. So those are good goals to have, but then you have to take a step back and think about what can you do that will get you to that goal? What can you do consistently over time that will specifically get you closer to that goal? And it's somewhat of a hypothesis, but a lot of times actions lead to success. Actions lead to achieving goals. So it's just the same as if you want to lose weight or you want to you want to build muscle or whatnot. That's that's your overall goal. You want to lose 10 pounds. That's good. That's great. A lot of people have that goal, but what are you going to do that's going to help you get to that goal? You can't just say, I want to lose 10 pounds and then do nothing for a month and then jump on the scale and you're down 10 pounds. It doesn't work like that. I can predict and hypothesize that if I work out 3 to 5 times a week and eat right, that it's probably going to get me to that goal or at least close to the goal. So clearly define the actions that you need to take on a weekly basis and a daily basis that you think will get you to your goal. And it's that consistency over time that will get you there. And that's what people miss a lot of times. You want to lose 10 pounds and then you work out twice that month, and then at the end of the month you didn't lose any weight, or you're down a pound, you're not even close to your goal. Well, you weren't consistent in those actions that would get you there, right? So that's what you have to think about when it comes to your Etsy business. You start your Etsy business and you have 10 listings and you want to get, say, 100 sales that month, but you don't do anything else in your Etsy business. Do you think you're going to get 100 sales with 10 listings at the end of the month if you haven't done anything? Probably not. You have to continue to add new listings, continue to share on social media, continue to work on other strategies, continue to learn and invest in your business by following and learning from other people that have been there, that have done it as well. Figure out what you need to do promotions, just be consistent in those things week after week, year after year. And that's how you grow the business. That's how you get momentum. So a little bit of a sidebar there for you, but I think it's super important. I'll probably do a future goal podcast because I think goals are something that everyone has, but very few people hit because they're not aligning their goals correctly with the actions that they need to take. So that is kind of the missing piece of reaching your goals. And the next thing I want to encourage you guys to do, once you establish your time, your times that you need to work on your business, once you establish the actions that you need to take to work on your business, make sure that you guys are competing with yourself. A lot of people get super wrapped up and super depressed because their competition's killing it or their business isn't growing. Compete with yourself, whether you have any sales or not, whether you have a lot of sales, month after month, year after year. Try and improve upon what you've already done. Don't worry about other people. Focus on yourself and what you can control and compete with yourself. I always look year over year and I try to beat what I did year over year. I'm always looking at that. I don't care about anyone else. I want to compete. If you're beating yourself year after year, month after month, your business is going to grow. So focus on that. I know that's really not part of work-life balance, but I just want to throw that in there to kind of keep you guys going because I know it frustrates a lot of people. The next thing that I ran into and that most of you guys I'm sure have ran into or will run into is talking with your significant other, your wife, your girlfriend, whatnot, and just kind of fill them in on your plan and your goals and what you want so that they understand. So if you have to spend, an hour or a half hour, a couple of nights a week on your business, they're going to understand. And maybe it's something that you want to include them in on. Maybe they can help you do it. Maybe they want to help, give you ideas and help you grow the business. Maybe it will become a partnership and involve them. That's fine too. There's people that have their wife has an Etsy shop and their husband and they have an Etsy shop, and they sell different things, but they're kind of there working on the same goal. So that's a good thing too. But I would just fill them in, and I used to do that too. I would come home, grab my laptop, I'd be working on it. My girlfriend would be like, what are you doing? Your nose is always in the laptop, and she really didn't know what I was doing. And I think it's good to kind of take a step back and it's like, hey, here's the expectation. Tonight, I'm just going to work for an hour on my business, but tomorrow, we'll hang out, we'll watch a movie, we'll go out to eat, we'll do this, we'll do that. So just kind of keep them in the loop so that they don't feel like they're hung out to dry and that you're not giving them the attention that they deserve. Yes, you're going to have to make sacrifices. Yes, it's going to eat into some of your free time, but most Americans watch TV, I think, what was it, like an average of 3 hours or 4 hours a day. We can cut out some of that TV time, right, and work on our business. We can take some of that time and invest in something that's going to, give back to us, something that's going to make us more money down the road and grow our business. TV is not going to do that for you. So I would encourage you to just have that open line of communication. That will do a world of good just for, your relationship, your expectations, and also your, how you feel about the situation. So there's no animosity or anything like that. And the next thing I want to talk about is just rewarding yourself, right? You set these actions each week, or you set, whether it's specific things that you want to do, which you should, in your business that week, or specific times, you should probably do both. I want to do this, this, and this, and I want to dedicate 3 nights this week, or I want to dedicate 3 lunches this week. And once you do that, reward yourself. Maybe you take your wife out to eat, or maybe you go do something fun. You have to separate those things out and celebrate the small wins. And wins are not just sales based. That's what people miss too. Just because you didn't get any sales doesn't mean you don't have any wins. Maybe you opened your shop, maybe you launched a new product line. Reward yourself for that. Maybe you added 10 new listings this week. That stuff's going to get you closer to your goal, and that's stuff that should be celebrated. But make sure you guys are taking time to work on yourself, to have fun. For me, I like to eat good food. I like to work out. I would always recommend that doing some workouts every week kind of helps clear your mind. I go for a lot of runs. It helps me think about new ideas that I want to do in my business. It's time for you just to think. So it's always good to, work up a sweat every now and again. Whatever it is, maybe you want to go play volleyball, maybe you want to go play golf, stuff like that. So do that, but go into kind of the backtrack a little bit. Think about where you want to go in your business, and that's going to determine what your work-life balance looks like. If you want to get somewhere pretty big, you have a pretty big goal, then it's going to cut into your work life a little bit, or it's going to dictate your work-life balance a little bit. But as long as you're setting that schedule up each week and the actions that you want to take to grow your business, you can separate it out. I did it for years and still had time to have plenty of fun and plenty of time for my family and stuff like that. But I think it's important to utilize the times that everyone has, but maybe they don't have the drive to use them for a business or growing their business. So I would encourage you to kind of think about your time and what you can dedicate to your business. And I know some people have gotten a lot out of, you can print them out online. There's a block scheduler where it has basically 24 hours and it's broken out weekly. You write your work schedule on there and you actually block out the times that you want to work on your business. People have used that and that's been successful for them. Especially if your hours change, if you have different work hours and they fluctuate, maybe you want to block out those times. And sometimes it helps to do that because then well, I have to do this day. Whereas if you don't have it scheduled, if you don't have it blocked out, you're like, I'll do it tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes, you're like, I'll do it the next day. And the next thing you know, the week ends and you didn't do anything in your business. You're like, oh crap. So, and then you get to the end of the month, you didn't do anything, and your sales didn't grow, your business didn't grow at all. So that's what I would recommend doing for you as far as managing your work-life balance, managing your Etsy. Um, Outside of that, there's things that you guys can do that I'm going to leave you with here. Is any automation that you can do that'll make your life easier as well. You can automate some things, such as if you want to automate your social media, you can bulk post that. If you use later.com, they have a pretty good free program. I think you get 30 free posts a month, and you can bulk schedule on a weekly basis. You know, if you want to promote your listings and stuff like that, you can do that all in one day, and then it'll just share out to your social medias with the media channels without you doing anything. So that's always nice as well. You know, if you're building an email list, you know, you can schedule out emails. You know, if you have coupon codes to help you create and generate an email list of customers, and you can bulk schedule those. So it's always good wherever you guys can bulk schedule stuff to save you time is always a good idea to do. And that's something that people miss out on because it's really hard to stop what you're doing in the middle of the day and post on social media. Because you're like, oh, what do I post? I'm not sure what to post. Which picture do I use? I got to edit this picture. Next thing you know, you're 20 minutes in, you don't have a social media post and you wasted all that time. Whereas if you did it all at once, you know, you can schedule out the whole week, you know, in probably the same amount of time that you spent on that one day, on that one post. Think about that. Then the other thing that I want to leave you with that has helped me as well is try not to bounce around. When you do figure out what tasks you want to do on specific days and specific times, stick to that one task. Because if you have a couple of different tasks and you're bouncing between them, you're not going to be near as efficient. So if your task is creating new listings, do that for that hour. Don't create a couple listings and then bounce to social media and bounce to SEO keyword research and stuff like that. Because next thing you know, you're going to have one listing created in an hour and you wasted a lot of time bouncing around. So stick to a specific task or a group of tasks that are the same to help you where you know, just to help you stay on point and be able to get as much accomplished as possible. But that's pretty much it, guys. Hopefully that helped you out. It's a little bit of kind of my background and how I managed my work-life balance. Now it's a little bit different, you know, because I can control more of my time. It's a good thing, but it's a bad thing. And this is probably a whole nother episode because my day is not structured by someone else. I have to structure my own day. It's nice having the freedom to structure your own day, but it's also a bad thing because you can get off task and chase shiny objects pretty easily, and then you're like, what am I doing, man? I'm not doing anything that's productive because I'm chasing all these shiny objects, trying to figure out all these different things to grow my business or expand my business, but I'm getting away from what is actually working. So that's a little bit of a challenge. Obviously, I run my Etsy business full time now. That's primarily where most of my income comes from. But then I also run, you know, the Etsy Entrepreneur podcast and membership to help you guys as well. So that is a whole nother animal where I'm putting a lot of time and energy into creating resources to help you guys as well. So it is a balance, but there is a way that you can structure that. As always, you got to kind of reevaluate your time, reevaluate how you want to align it. And I'm constantly doing it, even now, on a weekly basis, just figuring out how I want to structure my day and what things I want to work on. What are the main things that I need to work on that will grow my business and make me more successful in the future? So that's what you always have to be thinking about. Hopefully that helps you guys align, hopefully your time and your time management, set your goals, set your mindset, and get you prepared for what's next, what's coming in the future. You know, get yourself ready. What you start now, you want to be thankful that you did it in 2 years and 3 years. So start that habit now, start that process now, So you come back in the future and you're like, man, I'm glad I did that, because it got me to where I'm at today. That's all for today's episode. If you guys want to become an Etsy Entrepreneur member, I would love to have you. We have a awesome community help forum where you can get any question answered. We do live member only coaching calls monthly. And I also have a bunch of master classes in there teaching you the best strategies to start, build, and grow your Etsy business and get you to where you want to be in your Etsy journey. So there's a link below, a link in the show notes. You can join for 30 days free, test it out, test drive it. I know you're going to love it. I have a lot of members in there that have been with me for a long time. We're constantly working together to get them where they want to be in their Etsy business, grow their Etsy business, support each other, and just be there for one another to help anytime you need. But I would love to have you in there. So check out the link below. Other than that, until next time, I will talk to you guys later. Have an awesome rest of your day.